All right, check this out, my friends. For days, the girls have been engaged in collecting something that's very difficult to collect. All right, girls, what are you doing?
Well, have you ever had nasturtium, this really beautiful flower, which is also very yummy? Taken off the back, long thing on the flower, bitten off the tip, sucked, and gotten some sweet nectar. We'll change that process around a bit. Pick off the back, bite it off, take the top hollow part, blow through, and don't let the ant bite you. And, okay, sorry, repeat. I've gotten bitten by an ant before, or had gotten buggy juice. Really disgusting. Bite off the tip. Make sure there's not an ant, there's a little beetle. Great.
I know. I just had an ant.
It's crawling out.
Smushed.
There we go. And you get the drop of nectar. Sometimes if it isn't as much, if it isn't heavy enough that it'll just drop down with a little shaking, I put it to the side and it'll just fall down. And then of course, get those leftovers.
How long have you been doing this for, Liliana?
3 days or something like that.
How many?
3 days.
3 days? Okay, and let's see what you've collected over 3 days.
Remember, this is drop by drop.
Wow. So this has taken a little bit of patience, hasn't it?
Yes, and a lot of hard work.
And what are you going to do at the end with the nectar?
Probably drink it. Oh, Lily! Oh, that's a great score. I'm glad we waited a few days. And all of these she already pinched off the tip for me, so I don't have to. So I can just pick up.
Drop by drop. Hello, friends. For years, probably 20 years, my brother has been really bothering me about reading the Dune series. I've been resisting, but Rebecca and I, about a month ago, picked up the first book and started reading it. As he promised, it has proven to be very interesting and actually has helped us to, kind of reframe a couple of principles in our life, because there are some spiritual traditions in the Dune books and some different peoples that have different cultural life ways. Today I would like to share one of those concepts that, even though it's something we've probably all heard about or thought about on a basic level, it runs much deeper, and this tool can be life-changing. Hi friends, my name is Kenton Whitman, and together with my family, we aim to share wilderness skills, mindfulness practices, wild edible plants, family adventures, and skills that break you free from the limits of civilized life. Join us by subscribing to our channel and joining our YouTube family. All right, in the Dune book, there are a people called the Fremen. These are, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, these are a desert-dwelling people, and they're pretty disciplined. One of the keys to their discipline is something that Frank Herbert calls Spannungsbogen. Spannungsbogen. Spannungsbogen? Spannungsbogen. Am I saying that right? This is German. I've been learning that the German language has a lot of concepts, or words rather, for different mind states. And this, although in current German, the idea may not mean quite the same as what the author Frank Herbert means for it to be in Dune. Dune is set in the future, and as we all know, words change their meaning over time. So the translation is basically like a drawn bow. And this concept of a drawn bow, that tension that the bowstring is under. The idea is delayed gratification. For the Fremen people, it is a practice of, when we want something, to pause, to step back from that thing a little bit and not immediately fulfill that desire. In my last video, I liken desires to holes that feel like they need to be filled. So this is an extension of what I was talking about last time. We've all heard of delayed gratification, and we probably have an inkling that if I want a bowl of ice cream and I resist it, I'm going to build up my discipline. I'm going to build up my willpower a little bit. These are really good things. Now, this is a basic element of all of our lives, that we feel these holes emerge in us, these desires, and we want to fill them, or at least part of us wants to fill them. The way that we live in our culture, which really is telling us comfort. Comfort is the best thing, the holy grail, the thing we must strive after. To be comfortable, we have to fill those holes as soon as we feel them. And so the habit that we develop in our world is often to spontaneously fill those holes. It doesn't become a conscious choice anymore. It becomes something that we do, and we feel that we are at the mercy of our desires. I see a bowl of ice cream, I can't help myself. I grab it, I eat it. It rules over me, it owns me. This practice turns things around and puts us back in the driver's seat. Incidentally, it is very similar to a meditation that I learned about in my teens. And this meditation helped me to see the desires of my body or mind as something that I could step back from and observe, so that I didn't have to fulfill them instantly. And that has been a huge key in me developing mental and physical wellness over my life. And to be able to be just 50 here in February and to still feel like I'm in relatively decent physical shape and always getting in better mental emotional shape from year to year. Now, here's how this works at a basic level. We feel a desire, and when we feel that desire, we stop. We train ourselves to stop and just observe that desire for a moment, and then to choose when and if I will fulfill that desire. We can take baby steps. If I see that bowl of ice cream and I really feel pulled toward it, I can say, okay, I'm just going to take 30 seconds before I devour the ice cream. This is a viable step forward. Just 30 seconds. Then enjoy the ice cream. You have made a step toward disciplining your mind to not being completely owned by that desire. Now, there's all the desires we usually think of. Sexual desires, ice cream, the whatever it is for you. It might be cigarettes or alcohol that pulls you in. Media is a huge one for a lot of us. We are looking at YouTube and there's going to be a little video suggestion that comes up, and it may be some totally stupid video that's going to do nothing to enrich our lives, and yet we feel drawn toward, especially because it has 7.5 million views and it's recommended it must be entertaining at least. But I'd like us to note that we can also apply this to more basic desires. Things like the feeling of tiredness, a feeling of hunger. I'm really hungry, I haven't eaten for a while. Maybe instead of eating, I say, well, I'm going to fast for 3 more hours. Really tired. Maybe I decide I'm going to discipline myself today and just stay up for a half hour more. Sometimes the duration can be a few seconds. I can say, oh, I really want to click on that stupid YouTube video, but I'm going to wait for 10 seconds before I do it. Then I can click on it. And here is part of the magic as we go deeper in this. We know this develops discipline and willpower, but see what else it does. It starts to get us in touch with our desires. We feel those holes as a tangible thing. And when I have a desire, let's say to click on that YouTube video, it may be that I don't even really want to do it. It's just a trigger reaction that happens basically against my will. And if I say I'm going to wait 10 seconds just going to count to 10 before I click on that, that may be enough time for me to realize that I don't really need to watch that video. It may be enough time for the desire to wane a little bit to the point where my willpower has control over it again. I'm going to jump in right now and say, remember, all of this is a continuum. If you're unable to resist that YouTube video, that's okay. Take it little by little, 5 seconds, 10 seconds before you click it and start to see what happens. Now, this concept can go even deeper. And here's the next part of it. Because as we start to delay our gratification, as we start to say, I'm going to decide if or when, what we start to discover is really what desire is. When I'm hungry, I can think it's my body talking to me. But really what's happening, there may be some bodily sensations, but really what's happening is there's a mental emotional sensation. Desire, if I look at it carefully, is always going to be basically a mental emotional sensation. So I start to feel this and become aware of when this is operating. As we develop that awareness, we're probably going to find that it's a little bit shocking how much a desire comes into us and I instantly jump to fulfill it. Again, that's okay. What we're doing here is developing awareness of this process inside of us and then stopping and becoming conscious of it. As I realize that all my desires are basically a mental emotional activity, then this goes even a level deeper because I start to recognize that my thoughts are also basically the same flavored thing as filling a hole. What I mean by that is probably all of us have experienced this. It's nighttime and a thought pops into our head. This will be a very similar sensation to that desire hole. It's going to be a feeling of I need to think about this. At first, my mind just doing it automatically without my conscious will. Then, as I develop a little bit more, I'm going to see, I can see it happening. I'm not completely at its mercy, but my brain is telling me this is really important to think about. And so I begin to rationalize a reason to keep thinking about it. But then we start to see it as just another one of these holes. It's my mind feeling a pull towards thinking about something and then instantly answering that call. So I can use that same trick. I can say, all right, mind, you are trying to think about this thing that's going to happen tomorrow and you want to think about it all night long. I know how you work, mind. But what we're going to do is we're just going to stop for 10 seconds and then we can think about it. And then I can count to 10 and then think about it. This reassures our little worrying mind that it gets to come back to the thing, but at the same time we're exerting some willpower and discipline. Then I might think about it for a little while and say, okay, mind, that was great. Let's take 30 seconds and we can think about it again. By playing this game, diverting your mind into counting for that 10 seconds or that 30 seconds, or diverting your mind to think about something else for a short bit, maybe just imagining yourself floating on top of a cloud, this again begins to develop this power to recognize desires or mental impulses and to not be at the mercy of them. This is nothing less than developing the ability to feel our mental impulses, to be conscious of them, and instead of being blindly obedient to them, to stop and say, we will answer that call if and when we choose, not when our desire mind tells us it has to happen right now. This is a huge game changer. It can go into our, let's say, anger. I start to feel that anger towards somebody. Same thing. I'm going to start to recognize, oh, there's that pull, that mental, emotional pull, dragging me into something. But I'm going to stop and decide, is anger appropriate in this situation? Is it something I want to engage in? If so, sure, I can make that conscious decision. But I make the decision rather than just being pulled. My friends, this is a lot like the green wall that people first encounter when they come to the woods. It's just a bunch of plants. And then we start to become aware of and recognize edible plants, medicinal plants, utilitarian uses of plants, ecosystems, signs in the forest of animals or of ancient human activity. We're doing the same thing here with our mind, beginning to become intimate, familiar with the landscape of our mind, and being able to traverse it in a very different way. To develop this power, just start to pay attention to when you desire something. Start with those superficial desires, and when you feel one, delay the gratification of it for a short duration. Then build up. Go from there to saying, not just when I'm going to give in to this desire, but if. And make the duration a little bit longer if you are going to gratify that desire. Pay attention to what this tells you in your mind. It's not just a discipline willpower game. It is an awareness of our whole mental landscape. The thoughts and emotions that pull us, that impulse of the mind that pulls us into the realm of desire, and then basically demands complete obedience. Share your stories and thoughts about this, my friends. There are probably places in your life where you have felt very drawn into a desire, and maybe where you started to overcome that and started to say, I don't have to answer this call in the same way. I can decide if and when. Those are great victories when they happen. But when we make this a daily practice, it's not just individual victories. It's not just taking on the symptoms. It's a larger cure. It takes on deep ramifications that permeate our entire life. Share your stories in the comments. Cannot wait to hear what you have to say down there. And so much love to you all.